All right, some breaking Philadelphia Eagles news late on this Sunday night, especially for everybody on the East Coast. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. My name is Chase Senior. Hope everybody out there enjoyed your weekends. Thanks to everybody for tuning into the content, watching our watch party, 100,000 views from Thursday night's preseason opener. And moving forward, I always have you covered with Eagles news, reactions, analysis, every single day year-round, so be sure to hit that subscribe button. And even though it's a little bit late, got to cover the news here because this is a big-time deal for Philadelphia at this hour, as three-time Pro Bowl left guard Landon Dickerson carted off toward the end of the Eagles open practice tonight at Lincoln Financial Field, and what was a very exciting night, giving fans the opportunity to see the Eagles in action at the Link for the first time since last year when they ended up winning the Super Bowl. And the last time they were at the Link was when they dropped 55 points on the Washington Commanders, quickly turned into a somber mood and tone at the Link when Dickerson in team drills went down with an injury. And a viewer sent me this video here, and we can try to decipher it and look at it, and I'll just keep it on loop here. That fan, a viewer of the show, on hand at Lincoln Financial Field here tonight. And it is really difficult to try to see what exactly happened. And of note, it's not like the Eagles coaching staff or any players spoke after the practice session wrapped up. Sometimes that is the case where there will be media availabilities after a practice like this. But tonight, I believe Nick Sirianni spoke before the practice. And so you see this video here. Of note, it was the right leg that Dickerson was favoring when he was gingerly walking off the field, needed a lot of assistance, was barely able to put any weight on that right leg. And then he was carted off into the Eagles locker room, and nobody ever saw him again. Again, this was toward the end of Eagles practice here tonight, and there hasn't been any statement from the team. We haven't heard, as of right now, any reports from any NFL insiders or Eagles insiders. But you look at this video here, and obviously he's the left guard, and you see a rusher go up against Landon Dickerson in a one-on-one, and it appears, again, hard to make sure what exactly happened or see what exactly happened, but it appears like Jordan Mailata may have stepped on Dickerson's left foot, and then that put his lower body, for a huge dude, in a really awkward position. And then you see that right leg kind of get affected after the left foot was stepped on, and then he just fell right to the ground, and he was on the grass at the Link, didn't get up for a little while, clearly writhing in a lot of pain here. And so you look at this video and you say, okay, is it a knee? No idea. Is it an Achilles? Let's hope not. Let's hope it's not an Achilles. Is it an ankle sprain? I think that could be maybe the best case scenario. Obviously, if it's a low ankle sprain or a high ankle sprain, those changes in severity. Is it a hyperextended knee? Is it a sprained knee? Obviously, that could keep him out of the lineup for a little while. But if it's an ACL, if it's an Achilles, if it's something really serious, you're talking about one of the top left guards in football whose season could potentially be in jeopardy if this is a bad injury. And obviously, that would be awful news for the Philadelphia Eagles here. And so, kind of a troubling scene for the Eagles and their offense, this organization, the offensive line. Trainers examined his right leg for a little while. Jordan Mailata helped Dickerson get up. Dickerson put one arm around Jordan Mailata. Then a trainer to the other side of Dickerson was helping him limp toward the sideline. At one point, Big Dom DeSandro, the team's security chief, took over for Mailata, who followed as Dickerson then reached the sideline. Those two linemen obviously have played the last 4 years together side by side. And then Lane Johnson also went up to Landon Dickerson as well to see if he was okay. And judging by the player reactions, it kind of set a somber tone, which does concern you a little bit. As for Dickerson, the player, I mean, he has been tremendous for this Eagles organization since they took him in the second round out of Alabama. Of note, when Dickerson was at Alabama, he did win the Remington Trophy, by the way, which is a prestigious honor for the nation's top center. He also earned all SEC honors, but when he was in college, he did tear both of his knees, ACL injuries, during his time at Alabama, and he had transferred to Alabama, I believe, from Florida State. Let me just double check on that. But when he was at Alabama, he solidified himself as one of the top offensive linemen in the country and had 2 ACL injuries when he was with the Crimson Tide. Yeah, so he was at Florida State his first 3 years, 7 games, 4 games, 2 games, and then his last 2 years there, 13 and 11. And his final year, that's the year that Alabama won the national championship. He was an All-American and won the Remington Trophy, and then the Eagles obviously took him in the second round of the draft in 2021. But this is a player also who signed a 4-year, $84 million contract in March of 2024. He's been a tough player. He's played through a variety of injuries throughout his career. He did have a knee injury toward the latter half of 2024 as well. Of course, he had to fill in for Cam Jurgens at center in the NFC Championship game. The Eagles' offensive line is the backbone of this team. I mean, it allows them to throw it successfully when the run game isn't working or when defenses cater toward stopping the run. And it allows the Eagles to run the ball if the pass game isn't working out. It is the centerpiece of this Eagles organization. So you hope that Dickerson, who again is one of the top offensive linemen in all of football, is all right here. The Eagles have 4 of their 5 starters all locked up to contract extensions along that offensive line. The only one who's not is Tyler Steen. He's replacing Mekhi Becton. And so with Becton, with the Chargers, you have question marks at right guard. If Dickerson is out for a little while, do you have question marks at left guard as well? It is August 10th right now, day of the injury, night of the injury. And the Eagles open up the regular season September 4th. So you do have some time before you play that first regular season game against the Dallas Cowboys. But the Eagles' schedule also very tough as far as who would fill in for Dickerson if he's out for a long period of time or if he's out for the foreseeable future, which, based upon what happened, it looks as though he's going to miss at least a little bit of time. The backup who started on Thursday night, Brett Tauth, it's not Toth, according to the Eagles pronunciation guide, but he's kind of been a fringe roster guy, and he was on the 53-man roster last year, but did not see any game action, did Tauth. The Eagles did sign Matt Pryor in free agency. He started on Thursday night at right tackle. He can really play anywhere along that offensive line. He is a very serviceable interior offensive lineman. He started 15 games for the Bears last year. Bad offensive line, but he played okay. The Eagles did use a 5th-round pick in 2024 on Trevor Keegan. He can play guard. He was also, and throughout training camp, has been playing some center. And then the Eagles acquired Kenyon Green in that C.J. Gardner-Johnson trade. Oddly enough, on Thursday, there was that injury saga with C.J. G.J. A lot of conflicting reports from a bunch of NFL insiders. There was the initial reporting that he tore his ACL. Jordan Schultz had tweeted that out. He's broken some stories this offseason. And then the likes of, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter had then tweeted out that it wasn't an ACL, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson went from missing the whole year in 2025 to maybe being back for the start of the season. But in that move, Eagles bring back Kenyon Green. He's a former top 15 pick out of Texas A&M, but he's literally been one of the worst guards in all of football since the Texans drafted him. The Eagles got back Green, who was drafted in the first round in 2022, and then a fifth-round pick as well. But Kenyon Green, this is what I was getting to, on the night that and the day that C.J. Gardner-Johnson got hurt, Kenyon Green hurt his shoulder in the preseason game against Cincinnati. And so you're having to potentially tap into some depth there and have some question marks and unknowns at left guard. And anytime you're talking about injuries along this Eagles offensive line, it can impact the pass and run game. This is an Eagles team since Nick Sirianni came to Philadelphia in 2021. They have been incredibly healthy. 21 of 22 starters in Super Bowl 59 started for Philadelphia in Week 1. Nakobe Dean was the only one who got hurt. When they made it to the Super Bowl in 2022, all 22 starters from opening day, started for Philadelphia in Super Bowl 57. And so, luckily with Philadelphia, they've had all the success under Sirianni. They've had some really positive injury luck. Hopefully that doesn't run out. And I've said it here on the show, I think the Eagles can go on a dynastic run if injuries don't rack up, if health can stay on their side. This medical staff, this training staff has done a great job. Another underrated element of Dickerson being out, he's emerged as a leader of this team. I love what he said at the start of training camp. Every team has an expiration date. The 2024 Eagles, it's over. It's no longer an active team anymore. That was last year. This is this year. It's a completely different team. As Jalen Hurts said, the canvas is blank. But Dickerson, I loved the leadership there. I loved how he didn't celebrate what happened last year because the focus is on 2025. We saw him last year in pregame huddles getting the offensive line really fired up with some very passionate speeches. And again, the impact of the player here, if he's out for a little while, is notable. Overall PFF grade last year of 79.2, 13th among 136 guards. Pass blocking grade, 73.6. Run blocking grade, 79.7. I mean, Saquon Barkley followed him quite often. He played 988 snaps a year ago, 16th at the position. Gave up 5 sacks, 4 hits, 27 pressures, but interior offensive lineman, man, it's not like you're out on an island like you are an offensive tackle. There are twists, stunts, gains, and sometimes that can be very tricky. But the real ones, no. When you watch Landon Dickerson, you're like, hey, that's a player right there. And so something worth monitoring here as we progress in the preseason. The Eagles will have some joint practices this week against the Cleveland Browns. That game becomes interesting because of how Shedeur Sanders played in his professional debut. And that Browns defensive line, it's a really good one for these joint practices. Not going to be easy going up against the likes of Myles Garrett. They drafted Mason Graham with their first-round selection in that trade with the Jags to move back as the Jags moved up to take Travis Hunter. So as soon as I get any official news or word, anytime, or if we get a report from any of the NFL insiders, any Eagles insiders, as far as the severity here, be sure to let you know. But wanted to hop on the mic and pass along that information here late on a Sunday night. This is Eagles Now. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. My name is Chase Sr. I'll be back in the studio tomorrow, so I'll catch you then. See ya.